What a weird time we're in. You know, it's freezing cold in the morning. Get up at 5 o'clock to take the dog out, and it's freezing cold. And then you go to bed at night. It's 87 degrees, for heaven's sakes. Hi, welcome to Mary Wieden You. So glad to have you along with us. There's only one news story that I can think of that you'd be interested in is that 16-year-old boy from Rankin County, whose name escapes me, was found in Arkansas. Some man picked him up in Rankin County, apparently, and took him to Arkansas, and they found the kid. They found them, and the man's been arrested, and the kid is, I think, with his people or whatever that is. So that's the best news story that's going around here. Other than that, I got somebody. He's an icon sitting across from me. Really, he's the mayor of Clinton, and it's Phil Fisher. Welcome. I can't believe I haven't had you on the show, and now we're having. I would call this the first of your maybe your exit interviews, because you decided not to run again, which is a surprise. You've been so you got elected in 2013 the first time.
Well, for mayor, I was elected in '92 as an alderman.
Oh, okay.
2018 as a supervisor for Hinds County. And
2018?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm sorry, 2008.
Oh, okay. Because I got a picture on my Twitter X. I've got the journey of this man. I got a picture of you now and a picture when you were a supervisor, which I'd forgotten about, by the way.
Yeah. I was there for 5 years, then ran for mayor. Been there since 2013. So.
Yeah, and so that's what, 2 terms?
3.
3. So why now? Why not just keep on going?
Well, I've always believed that you shouldn't run for office just because you can get elected. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have any new, fresh ideas, if you're not ready to take the city in a particular direction, then it's time to turn it over to someone else. And I've done the things that I had planned to do, and I also believe that our city, in order to continue to grow and survive, needs a younger person in office. The month I leave office, I'll be 71. We need somebody in their 40s, their 50s, who understands the generation behind us and what they're looking for. I think in terms of neighborhoods, and this next generation, they're thinking in terms of, I want a place to stay, and then I want a place where I can have this lifestyle that I want to have, and I can work off my computer for a company in Colorado or Wyoming or Florida, and that's just not something I grew up with and fully understand, and the city needs to adjust to that type of and understand what those needs and wants are.
More high tech. Well, when you first went to become the audience should know you've done military. You've been a Marine, and then you have been in the National Guard, Army National Guard. I thought that was interesting that you swapped.
Well, it was.
You're still Semper Fi, though. I mean, always.
Yeah, and I never, you never lose that.
No, you don't lose
what
that.
they drill into you.
I'm an Army brat, so I get that.
And so, but I did and enjoyed it. I had taken a test, I guess, or whatever you would take when you're little or in school, and they said there's 3 things you need to be in life: a salesman, in the military, and in politics.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I just stayed with it.
Wow. Yeah, sales is the hardest thing of all, I would think. I could never do that. My attitude would be, well, if you don't want to buy from me, there's something wrong with you. That's not exactly.
Well, sometimes you do think that, yeah.
I don't know. But that's interesting that you did those 2. But so I guess there is nothing in the Marines of National Guard caliber. It's Army and Air Force, right, that I know of.
Well, of course, there's always the inter-service rivals that go on, and you kid each other about that. But they're great people, and they're very, when you talk with people in the military, it's just a whole different mindset.
I know.
They get it.
They do.
So
when you were, excuse me, when you're in the National Guard, I hate to do that. I hate to swallow when I'm on the air. I didn't push my mic. So anyway, so when you were in National Guard, where did you go? Did you get deployed at all?
Twice.
Where to?
Well, the first time I was in all 3 countries: Iraq, Kuwait, and Afghanistan. And the second time I was the senior logistician in Afghanistan. And so I was down in Kandahar, and we had the unit, the 184th ESC. We had command of 43,000 people, and basically, if you fueled it, if you fought it, if you fired it, if you ate it, if you did anything, if it moved, we touched it.
Wow.
We had more trucks on the road in Afghanistan than the Walmart did in the entire United States.
Wow.
I mean, it was huge.
What were we trying to do there? Fighting off whom were we fighting at the time? And I can't even remember about it. I know about it, but what?
Yeah. Well, it was just, there are many of those groups who.
So many of them.
Everything changes to remain the same. It's basically the same people. They just join different groups and they move around. And, it's something that's been going on forever. It will continue to go on forever. It's biblical.
I'm told, I don't know how I know this. Bert used to go on some of those trips with the National Guard. I don't know if you were on any of those with him. Were you?
No, I wasn't.
He went to, let's see, I think he went to K-Town, as they called it, Kuwait City. Yep. I think he went there, and he and Jim Duncan, his photographer, went on these trips. But maybe he's the one who told me about Afghanistan. And when you go to the cities of Afghanistan, they're like regular cities, sort of, but it's out in the boonies where the real people are, and they are different languages. If I'm living in a cave in this holler, and you live in a cave in this holler over here, we speak different languages. We hate each other, and whatever. Everybody tries to dominate and get their own little areas. It's just insane. There's no way to make sense out of Afghanistan.
Well, it's interesting when you fly through the country and you'll look over and you'll see up on a mountainside a little village, and you wonder, well, how'd you get there? What do you do every day?
Really? Exactly.
But they have water. They have access to food. They're happy. And they, are not getting along with somebody else. They're happy. And, it's just sort of an odd, it's really an odd situation. Place. But, Afghanistan has never been conquered. And it goes back to,
that's thousands of years. I mean, it's old. It's an old.
I mean, everybody that's tried has not been successful.
I think, is that the place that grows a lot of poppies?
They do.
Okay, well, do you remember a few years ago, UCLA or one of those California schools decided that they were going to help them get out of that business, and they were going to have them grow poppies. No, was it poppies? No, it wasn't poppies. It was corn or something like that, corn or wheat. And I'm like, oh, good luck with that. They'd rather grow their stuff where they can make their drugs. What a waste, because that's not what they want. But we're out of there, and got off the way we got out of there. I'm sure that you have opinions on that wouldn't exactly tie in with the way the military would do things appropriately.
Well, if you go back to Vietnam, you had the same pictures, basically.
Wow.
Living on Huey helicopters instead of living on the various aircraft of the Air Force. But it was chaos, and people who were realizing now this is your last chance and what's going to happen if you stay, they make a rush to get out, and you just really can't control the crowd. But
the way the military was treated, our military was treated, and our materiel, all that stuff we left in Afghanistan. We didn't leave stuff like that in Vietnam, did we?
Maybe not as directly, but there was a lot of stuff left. I mean, you can't bring it all back.
But still, do you miss any of that at all?
I did for about the first 6 or 8 months, and then it sort of faded out. And I got involved with the county, and I missed that for about 7 hours.
What did you say? 5 years on the Hinds County Supervisor board?
Yeah, I did, and then got in the city and have really enjoyed this. This has been an opportunity to. Work in the town that you live in and can make a difference there, take the town in the direction that you told people you were going to do, and then have a chance to go do it. It's been very rewarding.
Well, Clinton's kind of just coming along, I mean, it's doing well, isn't it?
Yes.
Somebody was on here the other day from the district organization, and I was wondering what the impact of Continental Tires was. I thought, boy, when Continental Tires are going in there, Clinton's going to get a big deal out of this. Mm-hmm. And one of the things would be shopping opportunities, because without Metro Center, y'all just didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people go to Flowood, and a lot of people go up north to Renaissance and up there too. That's all real nice, but you probably want to have your own, and you are getting your own, aren't you?
Yeah, we have the project Rising Springs that's underway right now. And it should be they should be going vertical here within the next year. They're getting the infrastructure down now and getting things in place. We're recruiting for it, working with the college to bring in the types of businesses that we need in town.
Where's it going to be?
Well, it's across the street from the college there at the intersection of Pine Haven and Highway 80 and Spring Ridge. Uh-huh. And then at the intersection of Pine Haven and Northside, we have another shopping center going in, and it's starting to be built now as we speak. We've got some onesie-twosies over here. We've got 2 subdivisions going in. We've got a third under consideration right now, and we've still got some land there at the corner of 80 and the Spring Ridge and North Side that we need to develop. We've got some land on I-20 we need to develop. So things are going well with that and are improving. What I hope is when Rising Springs is completed, that Highway 80, all the businesses there will start to, rebuild and refresh their storefronts.
Yeah, pickup,
because this Rising Springs deal is going to be really a big step up as far as what's being built in Clinton and in western Hinds County.
Are you involved in the economic development portion of it, or the recruiting of businesses, that part of it? Do they come to the mayor's office and say, hey, or do you go to them and say, hey, this is what we need to do, or how does it work?
Well, yes to both. Right now, we've organized with Western Hinds County an organization called Connect West, and the idea is anywhere in Western Hinds County something is built, we all benefit. The rising water lifts all ships, and so instead of fighting back and forth, why don't we just work together? And if a company wants to come to Bolton and operate there, well, Clinton and Raymond should help.
Yeah.
And that all started with building a sewer line, of all things, that Clinton needs by 2030. And if we don't have it, DEQ's threatened to shut the city down. Well, we've got that underway.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're halfway there with the money that we've been getting from Congress, thanks to our Senate and congressional folks who've worked very hard for us to do that. And we're about to start, break ground with that, and that'll take us into the next century.
Who are you going to tie in the sewer with, or who are you tied into now in terms of wastewater? Are you tied into Jackson and that
No,
on there?
It's ours.
It's going to be all yours.
Mm-hmm. It'll be Clinton, and then Raymond and Bolton will tie into it. And then as Western Hinds County grows, other companies can tie in. So the way I'm looking at it is we'll go to the Big Black River. So from Clinton to the Big Black River is 19 miles headed west, and it's 19 miles turned around coming back heading east on each side of I-20. So the way I see it is it's 38 miles of potential land that if the owners choose to, they can sell it for retail, commercial, industrial use. They can enjoy the increased value of the land. The water can be used, the wastewater that's going to the Big Black can be used for cooling. So it has every advantage. So Western Hinds County will have, at that point, they'll have the sewer, they'll have the water. We'll lay the correct internet at the time, whatever that is in 2030. We've got trucking already in place. We've got land and opportunity already in place, and we've got the rail in place.
Oh, wow.
So everything's in place there, and the only thing that we're lacking now is air right on the spot. John Bell Williams Airport is there, so we need to start working in that direction. So this could become the really one of the largest economic development potentials.
How far outside of Vicksburg would you be? You're right there almost.
Yeah, that's about 10 miles, I guess.
I bet you there'll be some tie-in there, I would think.
I would think so.
They're going pretty good. I didn't realize that they had as many boats as they do up and down the river. I mean, they have Viking, for heaven's sakes. If you got Viking, you're good. It's a port of call on Viking. Like, well, cool. It's a matter of time before they start coming over your way.
Well, Flags has done a great job over there. He's a good man. He's done a wonderful job developing the city, working nationally to get ports and things of that nature. And again, I'll add the seventh thing, the port. We have a port there nearby. So
yes,
this is all great.
You do. It's on the Big Black.
Mm-hmm. Well, no.
Not on the Big Black?
No, it's on the Mississippi River.
Oh.
But it gives us another asset that we can work with.
Well, the thing about the Big Black that I remember is years ago, somebody wanted to put a casino there. And I guess the Vicksburg Casino said, no, don't do that. You'll cut into our business. Well, I think there's enough business for everybody, it seems to me. But it could be something one day, a river walk kind of a thing. If we don't get one here, maybe even we do get one here. It's a thought. Wow, that's pretty exciting.
It is. It's a great future for Western Hinds County, Clinton. The three cities, we met yesterday, the Water Association that we have formed with Raymond and Bolton, and the Water Association that's in that area. We meet once a month to talk about where we are, what we've done, what we need to do. And everything now is kind of on hold with the election coming up.
Yes.
And will be until after the inauguration.
Yeah.
There's just there's just so much going. Either way, there's going to be a new administration,
right?
And so people are going to be shifting jobs and moving around. And
new administration, that means new people, folks. There's going to be a lot of new people, not just in the Oval, but around congressional buildings. There'll be some new people.
Yeah.
So that's it. And it's an exciting time. We'll be glad to get it over with in a way. But then what are we going to do with ourselves? Oh, there'll be plenty.
Well, city elections are coming.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and you're not going to be in it this year.
No, I'm not going to be in it.
But your cohort down in Byram is going to be in a. I think when you're talking about water things, I think about Richard White, who comes on the show a lot, and water is one of his big things. And doing wells is what he wants to do. But I saw him. I must have seen you too in the new. Well, it's a highway. It's a parkway. Is it Byram Parkway? Is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where does that come out? Is that west of Clinton, or where does it come out of?
It dies there at Park Avenue or Park Drive in the county. Just dies. It's a road to nowhere.
I thought it went someplace. It doesn't go to 20. What?
It was supposed to, and it just didn't get going. And right now, we need to add from John Bell to Norrell so that the freight that could be landed at John Bell can be shipped to I-20 and then get to Highway 18 for movement, and that would open up a lot for future businesses.
Well, how far is John Bell from 20?
About 6 miles.
Oh, it's not so bad.
It's not far.
No. By the way, I was so surprised when in Madison County announcing Amazon stuff, and I don't know who I had on the show. I can't remember. But I'll tell you about it after this break. This is Mayor Phil Fisher from Clinton. I want you to call him up at 888-808-8637. You can text him at 601-879-4395, or you can watch us at supertalk.fm/Mary. We'll be back in just a few. Maybe Lance was listening. What was I talking about before I went to break? I said, I'll tell you about it on the other side of the break. And darn, do you remember what I was talking about?
Y'all were talking about the Parkway to Nowhere, but then.
Oh, okay, there was that.
Yeah, we were talking about the Byram to Clinton Parkway.
Yeah, Byram to Nowhere. But how many miles would it be to connect it to Clinton? When it goes to the dead end, how far would that be? How many more miles would that take?
Well, it's about 6 miles from the airport, probably another 6 miles, I guess, 12 miles, 14 miles, something like that.
Okay, so that could be done one day. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Yeah. Did I say it on the air, or was it off the air about Amazon? I was so surprised, speaking of the airport, that you have an airport that's close, and how Amazon didn't want to locate near an airport. They don't use air traffic to transport their stuff. They use trucks, so that's why they're away from an airport. But most people want to be by one, so. Can John Bell accommodate people from Continental Tire, or do they?
Yes, it will. There'll be an expansion at John Bell that'll be going on shortly.
Okay.
And at that point, they'll be able to land, UPS, FedEx, whatever kind of planes, passenger planes, whatever you got. I mean, that's how long the runway will be.
I have never had anything to do with them, and I'm sorry, but there's still a lot of time to do that, because I do speak German, because I was a military brat. I lived in Germany, and I learned the language, and I still remember quite a bit of it. Unfortunately, some of it you can't say on the air, but I can have a conversation anyway. Are there a lot of them from Germany? Do you know? Mm-hmm. Oh, they are?
Yeah, they come. Well, they're worldwide.
Yeah.
So I mean, you may have somebody who's from Russia, from South America, Asia. So they come in and out, and it's a good flow. It's a healthy mix. I mean, sometimes you'll come out of City Hall and there's a restaurant across the street, and there'll be a bus parked out front, and they will be having a worldwide meeting
oh, cool.
in Clinton at that facility, and then they'll be over there having dinner, and then back to whatever they're up to, whatever their meeting's about.
And that's increased your housing, I'm sure, and helped to develop
everybody.
housing. It's
everybody, with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a place to live, then you got a place to shop, and a place to go to when you want to go out to eat. Yeah, Clinton's coming along in recent years. I always think of Clinton because I live on the Rankin side of the reservoirs, another whole world. But really, it's not so far. But you're doing very well, aren't you? I mean, you're really just coming along as your own. You always have your own identity, it seems like.
Yeah, we do, and we're proud of that. And Clinton has kind of always done its own thing. And if you think about it, when you leave, say where 55 goes south towards Byram, the next town is Clinton, and the next town is Vicksburg. There's nothing else on I-20.
Oh, that's true.
And so
there will be.
well, with Rising Sun.
Yeah.
one of the things, Rising Springs, one of the things that they've talked about is that when you leave that Birmingham area, there's a big mall in Birmingham. The next big mall you have of any consequence is going to be probably around Dallas until this is built.
Yeah.
And this will become a destination for people.
Well,
So
you
we're
can
really
go to the
excited.
outlets when you pass by. You can go to the outlets.
Yeah.
You can do that, but yeah, I know what you mean. Is there, for Rising Spring, what, Spring or Springs?
Springs.
Springs? That's a great name. Who named that? Where did that come from?
It came from the college.
Oh.
They've got a program they're celebrating. They soon will be celebrating. Let's see, it's in 28, I believe. Anyway, their 200th anniversary.
Ah.
And so they are rising, rising up. And so that's kind of where it came from.
Let me take this opportunity to promote Friday's show. Speaking of Mississippi College, Dr. Glenn Antizzo will be here and talking about what do you think we're going to be talking about on Friday. A little bit of national politics and a little bit of war and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, they're a wonderful community member, aren't they, Mississippi College? I mean, Clinton is not, it's not all about MC, but there's a whole lot of it that is. I'm thinking of Brick Street, and you come down the steps. Everybody knows what the steps are. If you don't know what the steps are, then you haven't been to Clinton. But the steps are a famous place for things to start. And that's a good relationship, isn't it, that you have?
It is. The current president, Blake Thompson, has just done a wonderful job. He gets the big picture of things, and he's willing to work with you and try to make, everything work out. Because, again, the rising water lifts all ships. I mean, they've got the Speed Scholarship now that's going to be a huge asset to the college, and it's going to add thousands of more students to their campus and thus to our city. And so we're working together to make sure that things are, everything can be accommodated. Our school system is ranked one of the tops in the state.
Yes.
Our public school system.
Yes.
But we also have some private schools. We do homeschooling. So it's an opportunity for you come to Clinton. You can literally go from birth to PhD and never leave town.
Wow.
Now, with Continental Tire, E3, Taylor Machinery, Guff Relay, all of these businesses that we have, McNeely Plastics that we have on the in the industrial park, you're able now to go to work in Clinton and travel the world, stay local. So, there are opportunities here now that may not have existed in the past that make this a great community just to live in and be part of.
One day, I just spent one day. I was the Grand Marshal of Cruisin' Clinton a few years ago, and so I spent the day. And I thought, well, this is really very cool over here. I just had never spent any time. And you have a very famous artist, of course, who's in White Waters. By the way, if you have not seen what he has done in France, you'll just have your socks knocked off. It's the most. He does beautiful work anyway. But I was looking as he was over there, watching what he was putting out, and then yesterday I was traveling along on the on Instagram. Oh my gosh, everything he did over there is there. It's like he's risen to a different level of his artistry and the detail and all. And I'm thinking, well, is that what he's painting? And I don't know. It's a combination of something's in him that grew and came out on this trip. And so anyway.
Well, artists see things in a different way.
They do. Boy, Brick Street is him and studio and all that kind of stuff. But are you involved in recruiting, for instance, for the new shopping area? Are you are you gonna get a department store maybe? Like maybe Dillard's or somebody like that? Are you looking at big like that?
Yes. Our Philip Gunn is our economic development person. And, he can pick up the phone and call anybody and get an appointment.
Yeah, he does have some good connections.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
A good Clinton boy. We want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, really.
And, we'll take advantage of him until we beat him in the ground, I guess. But he's able to do that, and we've got a group that is managing that. Connect West is an organization where you pay and then to join, and it's separate from the city government. I needed to get it away from government because government doesn't always get it.
Right.
And plus government operates in 4-year cycles. And economic development can take 6, 10, 15 years to get something going. So you can't have a different administration coming in and then all of a sudden going in a different direction. And this is kind of the way of the future. If you think about it, Hinds County has an economic development department. Madison has one. Rankin has one. I mean, Ridgeland has one. I mean, we all are doing
Everybody's
this
got it.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Where chambers used to do it. Now we're having these economic development organizations by different names coming in, and they're all doing this. And it's amazing, really. They're not competing with each other as much as you would think. They work together.
That's good.
And,
well, I like economic development. I think that's great. That's perfect. And I also think that tourism, just tying it into tourism, it's like, let's go to Mississippi. Well, what are we going to do there? Well, get to the Gulf Coast and you can do stuff down there. Well, there's things in between. And so I think that tourism is real important, not just for Clinton, but for everybody. It all ties in.
We had a discussion about this. Our tourism director and I did, and it would make more sense. It seems like that all tourism, they want to advertise in these glossy, cool magazines that they send you, but you don't know where to go get them.
Right? Yeah, I can't find them. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And they have Mississippi, and they have the state competing against your Hilton Heads and your places in Colorado or your hunting lodges in Wyoming. Well, that's not us. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna. We don't have that kind of rip-roaring ocean of the mountains to ski in and all of that. I actually believe we would do better in Field and Stream or some bass magazines and advertise the hunting and the game and the wildlife areas in our state. But we've kind of taken the attitude if we want to advertise our city and let people know what we're doing and that we're over here.
Well, these things that you're building too, like these shopping opportunities, that's along I-20. And people be like, hey, let's stop here, let's go there when they come along. That's valuable. I wish that the Jackson Zoo had relocated to Lakeland and I-55. Hey, mommy, there's a zoo. Let's go to the zoo, because if you don't know it's there, you wouldn't know that there is one, and that's another whole day's worth of stuff. But you're right there on 20. That's perfect.
It's a great location. And
do you have hotels, by the way?
Oh man.
How many hotels do you have?
We've probably got, I'm going to guess off the top of my head, about 7. We need 2 or 3 more.
Wow. And who are these people who use them?
Well,
people like that?
Yeah.
Just travelers? And
people don't stay in Jackson.
Yeah.
And you're looking at, we probably are 85% full every night of the week.
Wow.
We've got people, will tell me, well, we need to bring in this tournament or that tournament because, they're going to fill up the hotels. Well, the problem is if you're 85% full anyway,
wow.
then you're not going to fill up the hotels. They're already full. We need more hotels.
Well, they got a bunch down in Byram, which was news to me. They have several. And in Flowood, that's not my address. I'm just unincorporated area of Rankin County. But this hotel's going up all the time in Flowood, of all places. I mean, Flowood used to be this little place with busted glass factories, busted window glass factories. And years ago, there was this blue trailer, as I recall, that was their city hall. And look at them now. My, how they have grown. And they're full of hotels, too. Like, okay, come on.
Well, people are mobile. People are going, and the baby boomers are getting older and retiring, and they're all over the place. When I retire, it's one of the things that Kathy and I are going to do is get in the car and go places.
Just
look
go.
Around.
You're not going to get a travel mobile.
No.
You're not going to get one of those. Bert always wanted to get one of those. He thought that'd be the coolest thing in the world to have one of those, big whatever, where it's self-contained.
Those RVs,
I'm like,
yeah.
Bye, have a nice time. I don't. That's I want to get there and ski, or that's my thing. But that's the thing. Traveling is a big deal.
Well, I want to get there and check into the hotel. And I want indoor plumbing. I want air conditioning. I'm not interested in,
all that stuff,
all that other stuff. But
I gotcha.
But but people do. They have the income and they're traveling and they're getting out a lot more, and so the hotel business is becoming huge. And it's you can have a Hilton hotel in your town, but there's 7, 10, 12 other Hilton brands
yes.
that can also be in your town. And sometimes people don't make the connection. Well, they're all Hiltons. They're all based by Hilton.
There's the Sheraton. I guess that's in Flowood. That is, Lance. That's in Flowood. Flowood's expanding. Yeah, the big Sheraton's off by itself, but not for long, I don't think. Well, it's got the refuges right there, the golf course. Wow. Phil Fisher, we got one more segment to go. This is going by so fast, as it always does. This is Mayor Phil Fisher of Clinton, and we'll be right back. Stay where you are. Here we are with our final segment with Mayor Phil Fisher of Clinton, who I've never had on the show before. But before you leave office, which is going to be next June 30th, I think you'll have to come back, because it's just fascinating to talk about Clinton and how it's come a long way. And it's, the whole tourism and economic development and all figures in so big, the city of Clinton. Again, I can't remember if you said, do you participate as the mayor or not in any of the acquisition of stuff? You don't necessarily.
Into economic development?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely. At some point, the way this organization is set up, Connect West, is they'll go out and recruit. But the recruitment may start with me, in that somebody calls me and says, I need to know some information about your community. And then I'll turn them over to that organization. The organization is new, so there's some people I have been working with for a couple of years, and they still talk to me about what they want to do, and I'll include that organization in there. But then when they get it in place, settled in, they come to the city then as a developer would to say, we want to do this, we need a setback here, we need this rezoning there, some kind of consideration. The important thing, and I can't emphasize it enough, was to get government out of it.
You're right.
People in business like to talk to people in business.
Sure.
And they like to know that they're talking to people who have a like mindset. And you have a diverse careers on a board of aldermen. Our current board, we've got a DEI director at Hinds Community College. We've got a retired nurse, 2 lawyers, a communications director for a high school, a real estate agent, and we've got a lobbyist or a person who works with Sister City International. So, it's a wide swash of people.
How many
with
wards?
experience.
How many?
Six with one at large.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah.
What's your population over there now?
28,100 according to the latest census.
Yeah, and that was up by some good.
Yeah, about 15%.
Wow, that's very good. You really are coming along over there.
We are just kind of quietly chugging along there and doing what we do, and but we're about to make a huge splash with this, Rising Springs and the these other shopping centers that we've got coming up. I'm always hopeful of an announcement that's coming up, in the very near future. That, you never lose that belief.
Well, how about you? After you and your wife get through traveling, maybe you would come back and well, you're going to come home, but maybe you'd be interested in doing something like that, because you've done the political aspect of Clinton, and then you could do the business aspect of Clinton too. Shall I be your agent here? No, but you could do that. You could work with it. What was it called? West.
Connect West.
Connect West, something like that. You can do that. Well, like the former speaker does, something like that. To have that, it's good to have those connections, because you know who to call.
You know who to call, and you kind of know how people work and what they're looking for. It's interesting when you talk with a developer how they see the world so differently than you do in your own city.
Are these outside of Mississippi developers or in-state people? Or it doesn't matter, they're all the same?
In-state and out-state. I mean, these guys, if you're talking to somebody out of state, you're thinking in your world. They may be thinking of a location in Indiana or Florida or, some other state.
Nebraska.
Yeah, so they've got, that going on. And so kind of getting them to put you ahead of the others is always a challenge. And when you're speaking of somebody local, they know the market. Mm-hmm. Well, all of them know the market better than you know your city. It's amazing. They can roll in and tell you which side of the street and which corner. I want to be on the northeast corner of Highway 80.
Wow.
And that's pretty impressive that they have got it down to that.
Of course, that's when you roll off the freeway. You roll off I-20, and you come up on Spring Ridge, and there you are. That I do know. I used to fly over Clinton during when I did the helicopters, so I could see some of that. The schools were kind of new at the time. That all got developed, and I could see that. But it's like, well, Spring Ridge and I-20, that's where it's at.
Well, we've got a project going on right now where we're going to put lights up from Northside Drive to Arrow Drive on Pine Haven, and kind of continue the parkway along. 66 new lights, and we're going to have the largest sports lighting project in the history of the state. that's going to happen at Traceway Park, $6.5 million that is underway actually as we speak. We've signed the papers. We're just waiting for them to start. That'll change all of our lights in our park to LED. And then we're buying our lights from Entergy so that we can basically, instead of paying a rental every year, $400,000 a year,
Oh, Lord.
to them for the poles and the accoutrements that go along with it, we'll be able to save $400,000, put it back in our budget, put it aside to replace things as they go down. We'll hire a company to put the poles up if anything were to happen. But we can add that money to our budget. The next board will have that asset, when they come into office, in their favor. And so that's an important thing because cities, they never have enough money. You can always pave another street. There's always something that can be done.
Hire more police or hire more fire, hire more whatever. Yeah.
Well, and we have hired, since I've been in office, we've gone from 35 to 62 police officers.
Wow.
And we have become, for the 7th year in a row, I think the third safest city in the state.
Wow.
And that's quite a feat when you figure your next door neighbor to Jackson, which is the highest crime state or city in the country. And that's quite that speaks well of our police force and the way that they handle things.
Yes, they must have some good training. I mean, that's one of the big things. I learned that from John Neal when he was still out here in Ridgeland. Training, and then character of your people. This is another thing. That's the interview process is more than you just going and saying, well, I want to. Make things nice for people, or I want to shoot some people or whatever. No, it doesn't work that way. A whole lot of studying of the people, and character is certainly a part of it. And then the rest is training.
Well, and we give them every asset they need. I mean, they've got, their vest has a camera on it. The camera activates at a certain time without them touching it.
Oh, good.
So there's no, the camera was off. Oops.
Ooh, yeah.
No, it's on.
Uh-huh.
And there's been many times where somebody's called to talk about how badly they were treated by the police. And the police chief will say, well, you know what? Come on by the office and let's look at the camera. Oh, well, I'm real busy right now. And I'm not able to do that.
Really?
And they find out, no, that's not what happened.
Do you have dogs, by the way? Does the Empire have a dog?
Annika.
And what is it, a Malinois?
No, it's a shepherd.
Yeah.
I recall, yeah.
Trained at someplace away or trained by your own people?
No, it's trained somewhere, and then the officer that works with it goes there and trains with her, and then come back and.
She's sniff, search, and apprehend. Is she also an apprehend dog?
Oh yes, indeed.
Oh yeah,
we demonstrated that one. And,
you did.
And those dogs are fast, and they are fearless.
They're great officers, aren't they?
They are.
I mean, they really are. Are you going to plan for more?
I think, we're going to see what the chief wants to do. That's another thing that we do is we've hired good department heads. They hire good people, and we leave them alone to do their job.
Amazing.
I'm not a public works guy. I'm not a parks and rec guy. I don't know a lot about that other than, kind of that one over the world stuff. But you hire good people who know all the nuanced stuff that needs to go on. They can noogie in there and do these great jobs that need to be done. And you just get out of their way. As my father taught me, you organize, deputize, and supervise. Well, and right now things go on. If I'm not around or they don't call me, they just know what to do. They make their own decisions. Wow. And until they mess it up, I don't see any reason to get in their way.
That's good. No micromanaging on your part.
No, indeed. I mean, these guys are too good. I leave here today. And we go and we have our yearly Employee of the Year banquet the chamber puts on. And it's just an opportunity to thank the employees of the city for the great job they do. Everybody, wants their water to run and their toilets to flush. And sometimes they forget that, at noon in July when it's 110 degrees in the shade or in the winter when it's, 0 or, 10 degrees, that public works guy may be out there with a shovel and standing knee deep in water, trying to fix things for you, but they need to be recognized for the great jobs that they do.
Who's Employee of the Year? Do you want?
Well, we have one for the police, one for the fire, and one for public works.
Oh, okay. You're not revealing them until the dinner either.
No, I'm not revealing.
Oh, that's fair. That's okay.
Yeah.
So they'll be pleasantly surprised.
They will be, and a lot of businesses in town have things for them, gifts for their, winning, and they're always, it's just each year it's a harder and harder job for the department heads to make that determination. I stay out of it.
Yeah, that's
because I'm not interested in getting in and trying to influence it. It's you're in charge. You see them every day. You know what they're up to.
That's a good thing that you that they have too many to pick from. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen often.
And sometimes you'll think, I wonder why they picked that guy and not that guy, because they both so outstanding. I'm glad I didn't have to make that decision.
Yes, and there's always next year too for stuff like that. Well, Mayor Phil Fisher, thanks an awful lot. That time went by so fast. It's the quickest hour on radio, if you ask me. It's Mary Wieden You, and that's Phil Fisher, the mayor of Clinton. And you'll be back before you sayonara in next June. On Friday, don't forget, we got Dr. Glenn Antizzo. We're going to do politics and politics. See you then.